We're up at the Clifton Forge water plant in the dam, and we ran into Bobby Irvine. How about a little history of this, Bobby?
As far as the dam itself and the reservoir, I've heard several stories, to be quite honest, but Jack Kimberlin told me shortly before his death that the C&O Railroad had a great deal to do with the construction of this dam back in the days of the steam engines and the shops. They wanted to have the water available for future growth and expansion and so forth. So Jack told me that in large part they financed this. However, the diesel came along, which rendered all the need for the water sort of obsolete. And I think, just assuming, the then city, which is now a town of course, and the C&O struck a deal, and we ended up with a water plant, or a reservoir for the water plant.
This is really, that's a beautiful.
Even nicer over on the other side there.
Now, what do you refer to this? This is the
Clifton Forge Reservoir.
This is called the Clifton Forge Reservoir.
That's correct.
Boy, is it beautiful.
In the fall, it's just breathtaking.
Now, with respect to capacity, what is your capacity if you went full out and you produced everything you could produce?
The water plant is rated at 3 million gallons per day.
Wow.
Our safe yield, which is the amount of water that we could safely pull from Smith Creek without depleting it, is approximately 2.0 to 2.2 million gallons per day.
And how much, technically, what's the demand at the current time about?
Well, that's the interesting thing. Prior to the water meters, demand hovered between 1.7 to 2.0 million gallons per day. Now, it's not unusual to be around 1.1 or 1.2.
Is that a result of water meters, or?
It's two things. Water meters being one. The second thing being a tremendous job done by our Public Works Department out there plugging leaks. And no matter what the weather, out there doing their job.
That sometimes it's freezing cold and they're down there.
Freezing cold, knee deep in water, the water pipe spraying up on them, ice all over them. But, you know, they're there, they're doing their job. Thanklessly sometimes, as we all have to labor on occasion, but these guys are real heroes. Those are the two main reasons that our water demand is so low at this time.
We're looking at the little dam or the upper dam on the far end of the reservoir. And now maybe we'll get a little bit of history on what happened at the flood of '85.
In 1985, the flood came raging down at such a rapid rate that the operators at the time couldn't ford the creek to get to the shutoff valve. So all the debris and the rocks and sticks and everything else come rolling down the creek, got stuck in the intake of the little dam. So everything, all the turbid water, the sticks and everything else was all of a sudden coming into the water plant. And it wedged, as fate would have it, a stick about 1.5 feet long, wedged in our intake valve located inside the plant, so we could not block off the stuff coming from up there. The end result was the water plant was closed for about 5 days while we made repairs. I came to work on a Tuesday and didn't get to go home until probably a Friday. It was a lot of...
Well, you're legendary for your dedication to this plant.
I'm legendary because there were a lot of dirty and angry people on Clifton Forge at the time. But it was, you know, no one's fault.
Wow. So it was a huge, just a deluge of debris.
Yeah, and it was just a perfect storm. The fact that we had the rain, we got blocked off from the intake, the fact that the little stick jammed in the intake at the water plant, it was a combination of a lot of things. And that's what happens in this business. Things have a cumulative effect, and the next thing you know, you've got an emergency on your hands.
And Mother Nature isn't always that cooperative.
No, she does not cooperate. Very seldom, very seldom.
What a pristine
You need to come
scene
back
here.
in the fall and
with all the fall colors.
yeah,
Huh?
we'll go up on the top of the water plant. You see right there to the left. We can go up on the roof over there, and you can win the photo contest for the scenic house.
So how have things changed in the water plant business in the last couple decades? I think regulations have gotten a little tighter, haven't they?
Well, absolutely, and they have varied. Years ago, when I first came on board, most of the emphasis was put on chlorination. In fact, prior to the filtration plant, strictly chlorination was the only treatment process utilized. And that held pretty much till the 90s. And the situation with the cryptosporidium out in Wisconsin or Milwaukee, wherever it was. And then turbidity, or the level of the clarity of the water became a real emphasis for the health department, and regulations followed pertaining to that particular area. Then we fast forward to Flint, Michigan, and I fully anticipate that there will be more stringent regulations coming down on lead and copper, particularly lead. Not so much copper, but lead. We can look for those. And the situation with the dam itself, regulations tightened up. We have to comply.
But it's all about safety in the end, isn't it?
In the end, it's about human lives and loss of property. It's all about safety. You cannot gamble with either or.
And you mentioned you really got a good dedicated staff.
I do. We're licensed across the board. E.R. Gilbert, Tony Kimberlin, Wayne Walton, and Russell Lone. Everyone has their licenses. Russell's is in wastewater, but nonetheless he has his license.
And that involves quite a bit of training and understanding of the process,
Testing,
not just working.
Time on the job. And really proud of them. A few things I'm proud of. I'm really proud of the fact that so many kids have come through over the years. Kids in the 6th grade I'll see in Walmart, and they'll say, "Hey, you're the water guy," and they'll have a grandbaby on each arm. It makes me feel old, but it's a lot of satisfaction there too. And I'm just really proud of the fact that I could leave this plant tomorrow and I have people that can step in and continue to operate it as well as I'm doing or better. That's the legacy you leave. At one time, we could boast of 5 Class 1 operators in this little water plant up here in the mountains, which is unheard of, trust me. Unheard of to have 5 Class 1 operators in a little 3 million gallon a day plant. I'm really proud of that. A lot of things I'm proud of. Probably, I need to score some points here, so the thing I am most proud of is the people in Clifton Forge entrusting me for 45 years with their water supply. I couldn't begin to tell them how.
Well, that's a huge job. I mean, it does involve trust, and they realize the competence behind it.
And it requires patience. To put up with me for 45 years doing anything requires patience. Just ask my wife.
So we're inside the water plant right now, and Mr. Irvine's going to tell us what this somewhat complicated unit does.
Okay, and Jerry, this is a filter control table. We use this primarily to monitor head loss and also to backwash the filters, utilizing the backwash pumps. We have 2 in the basement. Roughly speaking, when we get to about 65 hours of actual filtering time or filtration time, or if the head loss approaches a certain point, we take the filter offline, drain it down to about 1 foot above the media level. We then run a surface wash or a scouring wash across the top of the filter to break up the particulate which is on top, and slowly open up the backwash pump in the basement and backwash the filter from the bottom up and out of the gullets into the trough and down to a sludge pond that's located down in the field center, which I'll show you later.
That's really cool, and you have 4 of these.
4 of these, and we used to do it, these are electronic. We used to have hydraulic filter tables that became so contrary after 50 or 60 years that we had to beat the valves with hammers to get them to open and shut. That's no lie about that. Finally, in 2008, we got the money for an upgrade, and we put in the new filter tapers, and life has been much better since then. Here in '74, and I've been coming in ever since, and I love the job. You can look around. I've been blessed to find the place that I really wanted to work, and been here all those years, 40-some years. If you give me 40-some more, maybe I'll get it right.
Well, thanks for explaining everything to us today.
No problem. It's been good having you here. Good to see you, by the way.